power, what we are told is at the top of the pyramid of power, presidents, prime ministers, and all these people, in the upper echelons of the pyramid, but nowhere near the top. The real people in power are behind them, in the shadows, and these are the conduits, the presidents, the prime ministers, and all the rest of it, for bringing that agenda into the public arena as changes in laws and legislations and the structure of society. So they compartmentalize all these different pyramids within pyramids, so that in the end, the banking system is encompassed by a pyramid. I mean, a bank's a pyramid in itself, all hierarchical pyramids, but then the banking system is encompassed by a pyramid, and at the top of that are the same families, most notably the Rothschilds. Same with the businesses. The transnational corporations are compartmentalized pyramids in and of themselves, but they go into a bigger pyramid which encompasses all the transnational corporations. So at that point, they are one corporation, just as at that point, all those banks are one bank. Same with politics, education, all these things. And people in this part of the pyramid here, they go to work, they're not trying to manipulate anybody, they're not trying to create a fascist Orwellian agenda and global state. They just want to go about their careers, earn money, go on holiday, provide for their families. But they don't know how their apparently innocent contribution individually connects with other apparently innocent contributions around the system. When you connect them together, you see it's anything but an innocent direction that it's taking the world. And that's how they keep what's going on in the hands of the few. This is Neil Haig's representation of that. This is the general population, and these are the kind of dark suit administrators of the system until you get up here to where the control system is. And most even here won't know that exists. Oh, I've just got this order from on high, I don't know where it's come from. Well, maybe we ought to bloody ask, instead of just doing it. And again, it can also be symbolized as the web, where these various strands, they're secret societies, semi-secret organizations, which go out and connect all these apparently unconnected countries, institutions, media organizations, banks, etc. And this Illuminati network, symbolized as the bearded man, spews out all these people who apparently appear to be random. To run for president needs cuckoo land amounts of money. Where do they come from? It comes from here. Where does that money come from? And therefore, you have two people put up for president who are there because of the money provided by this network. Therefore, they've chosen not only who it's going to be, but they've sorted out what the policies are going to be in return for that money. And this is what they do. We think we're choosing our leaders. We're not. It's a myth. And so this structure that I showed you earlier comes into this, where these leaders are put into power to carry out the agenda of the control system, which is why when parties change, whatever they've said in opposition goes out the window and they start acting like the party in government previously that they were criticizing. The common denominator is whoever gets in power basically introduces the control system, and whoever's out of power opposes the control system verbally, which means that you have the illusion of choice when whoever's in power unfolds the agenda. So there is no choice. It's a myth. And they control these institutions and play the people off against each other, divide and rule, both within countries and between countries, keeping everything in a constant state of confusion and conflict. And that's the key. Manipulating confusion and conflict is child's play. Manipulating harmony, manipulating respect between each other is a nightmare. So they have to keep the world in constant states of conflict. Now, when you bring it down to an individual country, as we come down this structure, this is what you find in every country. You had in America, it's a wonderful example, but it plays out all over the world. During the Bush years, Republican, that administration was controlled by a group of people known as neocons, neoconservatives, including all these people like Richard Pearl and all the rest of them. And over here, you have what I call, anyway, the democons. This is a network of people. I put Kissinger in the democons because he's an advisor to Obama at the moment, but he spends most of his time with the neocons, Kissinger. He just goes with whoever's winning. And the democons are a group of people that control the democratic administrations. But the democons and the neocons are controlled by the same force once you get to here. So people think, oh, I voted Republican this time. Oh, I'm going to put the Democrats in because I like that Obama. got a nice smile. And what you're doing is voting for this, whatever. And that's what's happening in this country. Same thing. And so when people say Big Brother Bush or Big Brother Obama, no, it's not. These are just puppets. Dance. I said dance. When I say jump, I mean Olympic high jump record. This is the thing. You take one mask off, you put another mask on. And because it's a different mask, we think it's a different administration. We think controlled by different forces. No, no. And what you have is the movie playing out in the public arena, people who appear to be in opposition to each other when they're controlled by the same puppeteer. And once you look beyond the movie, that's when you start to see what's really happening in the world. So the cards are moved around in line with an agenda for the constant, incessant centralization of power. And it's done with people who, I keep coming back to, have a DNA with empathy deleted, which means anything goes in pursuit of this agenda. And the people are misdirected, diverted by the way society is manipulated and controlled, increasingly so, with more and more laws affecting the fine detail of our lives, so that we spend so much time surviving and rushing around, we don't lift our head up and see what's going on. So puppet people are essential to the few controlling the world. And when we cease to be so, and it's happening more and more, then this will be over. Humans have been put into this round and round and round circular lifestyle with 1 week leads into another week and another week, just a repeating cycle of action and work and sleep and eat and work and sleep and eat for so many people. And this is the structure that they're moving towards. Why? Because when you're the few and you want to control the many, you have to centralize decision-making. The more diversity of decision-making there is, the less control any central point is going to have over it. So what you need to do is constantly centralize power, so control over more and more and more people goes into fewer and fewer hands. We started with a tribal situation a long time ago. The people in the tribe decided what was going to happen. We then brought, as part of this centralization, it's gone over at this whole period I'm talking about, the tribes came together into what we call nations. And now, a few people at the center of the nation are dictating to all the former tribes that make up that nation. We're now well into the next stage of that, which is bringing nations together under unions like the European Union, so a few people at the center are now dictating to all those nations, which are made up of all those tribes before. And the next stage of that, which they're already preparing for, is to take us into a world government that would dictate to these unions that are building up, like the European Union, the American Union that they want via the North American Union, the Pacific Union, evolved out of organizations like APEC, Asia-Pacific Economic Cooperation, and the African Union, already in place, evolved out of the Organization of African Unity and other bodies. And what they done in many of these unions is start them off as free trade zones, just for jobs, that's all it is, no worries. And then they've turned them into fully fledged dictatorships, which is what happened in the European Union. And the reason is that you've got to centralize power if you want to get more and more control in the hands of the few over more and more people. So coordinates. Some of these things I'm going to talk about in this section are quite controversial, but they need bloody saying, so sod it. Methods of manipulation, coordinates 2. How do they manipulate this? One of the coordinates, one of the methods of manipulation, a massively important one to understand, is one I've dubbed problem, reaction, solution, where you want to change society in a way that if you do it openly, you'll get resistance, massive resistance from the population. So what you do is you create a problem covertly, you blame someone or something else for it, you pass that fake version of the event through the unquestioning, pathetic mainstream media to the people, unquestioned overwhelmingly and certainly uninvestigated, and you want the people to react to the manufactured problem with outrage, with fear, and you want them to say, do something. What are they going to do about it? At which point you then offer solutions openly with changes in legislation and society and its structure to advance your agenda. And because of the problem reaction solution, you do not get the resistance here that you would have got without the manufactured problem. 9/11 is a bloody classic.